Hey guys, this video I'm going to be talking about The Flash Season 9, whether or not I think Wally will appear, or if we'll see him in Season 9 or in the future after like Season 10 or whatever. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button down below, subscribe for new, notifications sound, let's go into the video. So, we haven't seen Wally since Season 6. There was storylines from the beginning of Season 7, at least for the last epic novel he was going to be. Due to time issues and COVID, he couldn't be. The actor couldn't be, so we couldn't get Wally. And in Season 8, according to Eric Wallace, Keenan, who plays Wally, was going to be in several episodes of Season 8. Especially his last season, you know, Eric Wallace is kind of disappointed that we didn't get him back. But thankfully we have another whole season to do that. As far as I'm aware, he's doing another show, and he's doing what he likes. That all being said, it depends on the time and when he can come back. It's not that he doesn't want to come back. He has made clear several times that he wants to come back. I don't know how hard it is for people to read what the actor actually says, like on Twitter. So I'm pretty sure he said the same thing on Twitter when it was going around that he didn't want to come back. He straight up said he would like to. It's just the timing is not right. So if you see people saying, oh, Keenan doesn't want to come back, he does. It's just the timing. Season 7, it was a COVID issue, which Season 7 pretty much got started over because of COVID. Again, whether you want to admit that or not is on you, but it's a fact. It's not an excuse. It's a fact. It's similar to why Wally wasn't in Season 7. Again, Season 8, it was the timing. If we did get Wally back in Season 9 of The Flash, which should air in 2023, and they're filming, I would assume it's September, that or October of 2022 this year. I could see them leveling up Wally to where he's doing more with his powers. However, at the same time, I could see them doing like an interlude episode or a few where we're seeing Barry doing more with his powers than Wally ever could. And maybe Barry teaches Wally a few things. I would like to see that. But what they have to be careful with is not a repeat of Season 3, where we had Barry teaching Wally a lot, and then Wally being magically faster than Barry. I think that was the thing with Barry and Wally that didn't make sense, at least to me. Because how could Wally be faster than Barry when he just got his speed and it took Barry 3 years to get that fast, but it took Wally like a few months? So they have to be careful where they step. Because right now Barry's the fastest speedster ever. Like, we know that. So if they want to keep that going, you can make Wally faster to still make him faster than Barry. And have Barry being a mentor to Wally again, teaching him new powers. I think that would set up for a spin-off show, if you ask me. Like we have Barry and Wally going to Keystone, or, you know, somewhere else in the world where we have Wally, you know, saving the city all the time. You know, like Barry does in Central City and Oliver did in Star City, and etc. I could see that being the case. At the same time, I could see it being the exact opposite. But if they were to set up a Kid Flash show, it would be the season. I wouldn't want to say if it was the last season or not. If it is, 100% they would try to do something like that. Especially if a lot of people are calling on them to do that, I mean. So I could see them, like, subtly setting up a spin-off show. It won't be like, oh, to be continued on Kid Flash or whatever. You know, like they did with Arrow 809, was entire episode on a spin-off show. It would still be, like, with Barry. It would still have Grant in it. It would just be Barry and Wally-centric episode. It obviously would be an interlude, as I said already. I wouldn't mind that. I love seeing Wally. I just rewatched parts of 614 with Wally in it. You know, Wally was always amazing on this show. The acting is pretty much up there with Grant's. I mean, he delivers every line very well. Even when he was on Legends, I think he did pretty well. And I think he does on season 3, which is the season I quit watching, but, well, after I quit watching Legends, but in season 4 I quit. But, nonetheless, the actor does pretty damn well with this character. And it's just, we need a story to bring him back, even if it's for an episode, and we also need to make sure the timing works. Obviously, if they're doing like a 5-part event, and there's no place for Wally, and he can come back, why would you bring him back? Because then it won't make sense. Like with Armageddon, if we had Wally in it, what would have been different, right? Barry's more powerful than Wally ever has been throughout their entire speedster. Like, ever since they got the powers, Barry's always been more powerful. He just never knew how to use it till now. Wally, while he knows how to use his speed on some level, he doesn't know how to do it like Barry. And again, Barry's much faster than Wally's ever been. So, there wouldn't have been any reason for Wally to appear in Armageddon. In the Deathstorm arc, same thing, because Barry couldn't do anything, so neither could Wally. In the last Havoc novel, I could have seen Wally appearing for, like, the last 2 episodes to fight alongside Barry and Thawne. It would have been nice to see Wally fight Thawne, but obviously that wouldn't have lasted long, because he probably would have gotten sent back a billion years alongside Bart, Nora, and Meena. But, nonetheless, it would have been cool to see something along those lines happen. Now, we did see Wally in Earth Prime comic, which I think was a nice settlement to say, like, hey, we know Wally's here, he's doing well, and we're going to try to get him back. I think that's why they did that, alongside Supergirl and the Earth Prime Clark, which is not Samantha Lowe's Clark, but whatever. I think, and alongside Stargirl too, why they connected it to the Arrowverse in that comic. But nonetheless, when you're dealing with this, again, similar to Meena, as I said last night in my Flashes in 9 video, the story has to be able to work to bring back characters. You can't just have them come back randomly and be like, oh, let's do this, let's do that. Has to make sense. Like in 614 when Wally came back, it was because his Speed Force was dying, and we knew that. We learned it in that episode pretty much, but it was all connected to Wally's story because he wanted to know what was going on with the Speed Force. He knew it was Barry's fault, and that's, why he was there. And it also led into the Iris thing with Wally being suspected of the virus and all that, so it worked. It wasn't just a random appearance. He showed up for a reason. This coming up season, if they do have him coming back, again, there'd be a better reason than the Speed Force dying, because obviously it's not dying. The best case scenario I can see happening, if they really want to go down this route, would be if Cobalt Blue comes in, and maybe he takes a portion of Barry's speed, so Barry calls for backup, calls in Wally, Jay, and maybe Meena get her speed back for a little bit. We have a 3-on-1, 4-on-1, speedster fight, Barry, Wally, Jay, and Meena. I could see that being the case, or just Barry, Wally, and Jay. I mean, those are the 3 classic speedsters we've got in the show. Next to Jessie Quick, but obviously she's dead, so that won't really work. But, we had these 3 speedsters take on Savitar in season 3. They were fighting alongside in 323, especially Barry and Wally throughout the entire season 3. When Wally got powers, we were dealing with that. Again, I would love to see Wally. It's just, how would it work? I'm not trying to be like, oh, the writers won't do a good job. I think they will, or at least Eric Wallace will. I think he knows what he wants to do if we can get him back. It's just, again, when, how, and what story. Will it be a part of a big story? Like he would have been in the last Havoc novel. I would assume so, because there was no other place for him to really be in, unless you rewrote like an inner episode. Then I could see it, but like we would need him to fit into some story, and I would assume it'd be in the main story. But again, how? I mean, if you bring Bloodwork back, you can't really bring Wally back for that, because then it's like, do you really need help, Barry? Like, come on. Martian Manhunter took down Bloodwork. If he can do that, I think Barry can take him down within the first episode. You know what I mean? Unless he's like, teaming up with someone. But, if they do bring Bloodwork back, which is definitely like 90% happening, I'm sure of it will, but do we really need Wally back for that? And if it is Cobalt Blue, I could see them bringing Wally back for that graphic novel, because Barry would need all the help he can get here. Then, that could be the case. And they could always bring him back from the episodes and whatever. It's just, again, how? And that's the number one question I keep saying, because we don't know anything about Season 9. And when we do learn about Season 9, I think it'll be more clear for us to be like, okay, here's how Wally will come back. Here's how Eddie will come back. Here's how Meena will come back. Which, ironically enough, I've done 3-4 videos over these characters about Wally, Meena, Wally, Meena, and Eddie, and Bloodwork, all return to Season 9 with similar titles, but it's not planned, by the way. I didn't realize that till today, but nonetheless, the point I want to get across in these 4 videos mainly is that right now we're just speculating. Like, we don't know much, and we're not going to know much until they start filming, and probably until late 2022, like around December time area, when a trailer drops. Then we can get the vibe of Season 9 and be like, okay, this is where Wally can fit in, this is where Meena can fit in, where Eddie can fit in, if he's not the big bad, if he's not Cobalt Blue, you know what I mean? Then we can have these 3 characters come back. I could see that being the case. It's just, again, how, when, and why. Those are the 3 things that Eric Wallace is more likely looking at. It's similar to Zoom. You know what I mean? He wants him to come back, but how, when, and why. Those are going to be 3 things, at least for me, and I'm sure a lot of you will be looking at when we go into Season 9, and when we're getting teased about Wally or Zoom or Eddie or Meena returning, how can they would be set up well, because it needs to be for all these characters, especially Zoom and Wally. I think these are the 2 characters that everyone's hyped up about returning alongside Eddie and Meena, but everyone's hyped up along the board. But I think Wally and Zoom are the 2 most hyped up people in the community, in the Flash community, that they want to see come back. So if the writers want to do it justice, if Eric Wallace wants to do it justice, we need it to be a good story, we need it to work, and we need Barry to be the main lead of those episodes. It can't be, Wally comes back, and it's Barry and Wally. You can have Wally with Iris and every now and then, and Joe, assuming he's still there when Wally does come back. But you can't have it being 20,000 different storylines in the same episode, and then just not make it Barry-centric. If Zoom comes back, it better be Barry-centric, otherwise there's going to be a lot of people pissed off. Like, they have to do it right. If it's not done right, it's not going to end well. So, there's this whole thing of, I think, again, like I said already, what Eric Wallace will be looking at are the 3 questions: how, when, and why. How can this fit into Season 9? And also where? When do we bring him back in Season 9? Why do we bring him back? And where do we fit him into this season? Is it going to be in the graphic novel? Is it going to be an interlude episode? If it is in the graphic novel, how big of a role will he play? Will he be connected massively to the main story? And also another thing, if they're going to repeat what they did in Season 8, where the first 2 graphic novels tie into Season 8, the last graphic novel, you have to be careful there. Because if you can't get the actor back, it's going to be screwed up. So, again, what they have to look at, can we get the actor back if they want to tie one graphic novel to the other to bring the actor back? You have to make sure you can get him back. You can't pull I think Arrow did it, where you have a person here that's going to be returning later in the season he's set up to, and it doesn't happen, and it's just weird. Like, you can't do that. I'm pretty sure Flash did it in Season 7, too. There was Season 6. I don't remember. 1 or 2 seasons that happened. You can't do that. That's not how it should work. I get that they can't predict everything, but if Keenan is like, yeah, I'll be back for this week for filming for these certain episodes, but I won't be able to return later in the season, and they know that, and then they write an entire episode that's related to Wally, but it won't work, that's related to the final graphic novel, because Wally can't be there, like, then it's just kind of screwed up. Now, if the actor can be there, great, but learn that beforehand. Don't just go into it and, wing it. But look, I really do want Wally to come back. I think we all do. I think we can all agree. Whatever you think about the show anymore, that it would be nice to see Wally come back. Especially if it's the last season, which we don't know yet. CW is being quiet, which is sometimes good, sometimes bad. It's like 50-50. They were quiet about Green on the Canaries pickup for over a year. They were quiet about Legends of Tomorrow and Batwoman cancellations until pretty much the last minute. And alongside Naomi, they were quiet for the Flash Season 9 pickup and Superman Lois Season 3 pickup, again, until last minute. I mean, Flash was literally filming their finale, like in the last week of filming their finale, and they found out there was a Season 9 pickup. So, again, and they just announced it to the public because the people can't, but the CW can, they decided not to. So again, when are we going to learn this? It probably wouldn't be till late 2023. Like when we're late into Season 9, we'll learn, okay, this is the final season or we're getting another season. That's what it'll be. Superman and Lois is going to be in our case where we probably won't get another season. I'd be surprised if we get another season. That's not me being judgmental on some level. It probably is, but I don't think you can get a fourth season after everything Todd pulled with the fans and fans being really pissed off at the show right now. Not specifically Tyler, Elizabeth, or the cast, but just Todd helping. But I think if there will be a season 10, I think we're gonna get Wally back 100%. Again, just how would it work? We gotta figure that out. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching the video. Have a good day. Have a good night. Stay safe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.